Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a very wet Wednesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go up to our friends up in Queensland and, of course, speak with the Peninsula Power, of course, the National Premier League women's team. And, of course, we've got two very special guests joining us right now to tell us a bit about the season for them in season 2021. Thanks both for joining us.
For having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'll get both of you to introduce yourselves and tell us what position both of you played on the field in 2021.
You can go first, Ali.
Thanks, Tegs. Let's see. So I played center midfielder. Sometimes they had me at 10, but I really prefer to play holding. A little bit more defensive minded, a little bit more tactical structure, vision, moving the ball. So you usually find me right in the center of the park.
I'm Tegan. I played in the centre back in the 2021 season. Trying my best to keep the opposition out, obviously, with my partner in crime, Lauren. But yeah, I tried to do a lot of solid tackles and keep as many goals out as possible to make it easy for our keeper, I guess.
And she scored some banging goals. For a center back, she probably is our top scorer, and they were incredible goals. Definitely the highlights.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Pretty tough year for the team in 2021. Obviously started with the, I guess, in the NPL, obviously with the 16 teams, I think it was, and then obviously that got cut in half at the halfway point. How do you think the season panned out for Peninsula Power?
Peninsula Power, we got brought into the league as kind of a last second effort. So we were kind of scrambling to kind of get in and get ready. And it was a young team to start, and we grew so much. I mean, in the beginning, we had some coaching changes. There was so much moving parts. A lot of the girls were already on other NPL teams, so it was hard to get players. So we did have some challenges right from the start, but continued to grow and get better as the season went along. And we brought in Alex at the very end, and what an addition to this club. He is top level. I've had the opportunity to play all around the world, and I don't think I've worked with a coach to the standard as Alex. I really felt like I was learning every time that we stepped on the field, and you could see the improvement with the girls as well. So I think next season, like I said, it's just going to be totally different, and they're going to start off on the right foot, and I think they're gonna make a big splash in the league.
Just on the note of for next season, I'm really excited to see how far we can go. When Alex came in at the very end of the season, you could see that the girls were improving already. We managed to get a win, and we started to get better results once he did come in. So it's really good to see that improvement, and hopefully we can carry on from the end of last year into next season.
I guess what would be some highlights throughout this season?
Well, for me, I really enjoyed our Toowoomba match. It was actually a bittersweet match, I would say. The last 10 minutes maybe of that match, because that was a match that we struggled. We were losing, I believe, the match. We were tied, maybe down by one, perhaps even down by a few. We were down by, I think, 4-0, and then we came back and scored 3 goals in the last 15 minutes. I mean, bangers. We really started to put together those combinations that we've been working on in training. I mean, Tegan had a screamer from 45 yards out, just a bullet. And it was just so exciting to see after struggle. We could have given up, and it was a rough game, down 4-0. But to so quickly produce so many goals, it just shows the potential that this team really had. So, yeah, man, that was an awesome match.
Yeah, it was a really good fight back for us, I reckon, considering we were already down by a fairly big scoreline as well. And to come back and almost win them, or at least almost draw, and come off and share the points, it was a pretty good comeback, I would say, as well.
Some of the players in the team that had an awesome year in 2021, other than yourselves?
Oh, damn.
Tegan's a top pick for me because she's a young player. She's very strong in the back, but also very attacking minded. And I really respect the way that you show up to training every week, Tegan. She's always there before, she's staying after, she's putting in the work, and you can see it translate on the field. It's those players who put in that extra bit, and Tegan is one of those. She's someone who has goals. She's talked about them. She's set them up, and she's really putting in that work. And you don't really see that, but when you see a young player like Tegan come in, we're so happy to see you get those goals this season and it pay off for you. And the cool thing is she's so young. She's so young. How old are you, Tegan?
19.
19 years old. So I'm 32. So she has got a long road of development and growth, and she's already as good as she is. So Tegan, definitely a highlight player for me on the team. It's really cool because every player has their own special qualities and different things that they excel in. It was really cool. Em came up on some big goals for the season as well. She's a more crafty player, and it was really sad to lose Casey. She was a great forward, a very strong player. She had a knee injury, and that's always heartbreaking. I've never had that, but I've seen so many players have knee injuries, and you just know you're out for a long time. But you know, she had a good spirit, and that's Casey in a nutshell. Was positive and supported us all the way through. So hopefully you'll see her back again next season.
Yeah, hopefully. I honestly, in my opinion, I think Ali, she had an awesome season. Every week she came in, positive mentality, it radiated, it went all through the change rooms. Everyone was positive and happy. She's a workhorse. I tell you what, the amount of running you do in that midfield, Ali, I praise you for that. I think Georgia stepped up quite a bit during the season, which is good considering she's 16, 17 years old. She's had to step up quite a bit and jump into the midfield area, and I think she ended up playing out at left and right fullback at times. So she was a pretty versatile player. And Casey, at the end of the day, if she would still at power, without the injury, she would be the top pick. Honestly, the short amount of time that she was there, she made one of the biggest impacts.
Came up big, and a lot of times, because oftentimes, like I said, we're a young team. We were really under threat a lot of the season, and to be an attacker a lot of times in that position, you're the lone attacker. So everybody's back trying to defend, and Casey's up there as forward, and she had to make that magic happen a lot of times by herself. I might be trying to haul and get up there, but really she had to be able to hold that ball and try to create that creative presence. But I do also want to give a good shout out to Laws in our defensive line. Wow, the heart. She is also a very strong player. Came in, she won so many tackles. That is somebody who will work till she drops, and you can always depend on her. So huge shout out to Laws. Great season.
Ali, of course, I don't know, you've announced it, but you are retiring from the sport. Was it a difficult decision for you?
Well, it's a difficult decision because I've said it the last couple of years, and I just love the game. I've been playing since I was 4 years old. I'm 32 now, so that's a very long time. Quarter of a century to be playing a game that you love, and it's always going to be a huge part of me. So I did have a period where I got to kind of mourn it, and then Power kind of gave me the extension to come back in and play a season. And like I said, very grateful for that. But at this time in my life, I'm ready to move forward, and I got my master's degree in film, and I'm making some different films now, and I really want to put my time, my efforts into that. And unfortunately, a lot of that filming time falls right on weekends. So this year I was only at a handful of games, or I had to miss a handful of games due to some other filming conflicts, and broke my heart each week that I wasn't there. But the girls always had great matches, so I might try to stay in. And, you know, Alex has extended, and he said at any capacity, we'd like to have you, whether it's coaching, practice, you know, there for a game. And, you know, I would love to just come in at some point and then just be there and support the players. I've got a lot of experience at this point. And this was the first season for me that I really felt the kind of coach come out of me. And I was really taking the time to give back to the younger players and really expand on my knowledge and help coach them through. And it's pretty fulfilling to see a player listen, hear you, and make the change, and then see that success for themselves. So maybe I'll come back. We'll see.
How did both of you get involved in the World Game, and why did you choose it?
It chose me. Man, okay, so I'll start this one. When I was 4 years old, I had so much energy, too much energy. My mom's like, I got to put this kid in a sport. So she brought me to soccer, and yeah, it was love at first sight. I've never even played another sport. I've just loved it. Never even wanted to branch out. I was playing year round, year in and year out. And it's so cool that it is the world's game. It just so happens to be. So as I toured around the world, it was really cool to connect with people, because everyone knows football. Everyone loves football. And it was a connecting piece to connect with people. So that was my story. And apparently, and according to Tegan, I still run as much as I did when I was 4.
For me, I started when I was about 5 years old. I started to kick the ball around with my mum's team. So apparently I used to run amok, and I'd join in all the shooting drills, and I'd have some really good shots and actually get it past the keeper. Whether the keeper was pretending, I couldn't tell you. But so I started kicking the ball around at 5, but I've been born and raised with football. My parents have played since they were kids. So I've been brought up with football, and I've enjoyed every minute of it since I started joining. But yeah, other than that, I've been playing for nearly 15 years as well. So we'll have to see how much longer. I'm sure I've got quite a few more years left in me.
Oh yeah, she's strong.
Yeah.
So, 20s are actually the best. I feel like the women start to really peak. You athletically peak later than the men. So you actually have the best physical years ahead of you, which is super exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Both of you mentioned right at the start what position both of you played on the field. This is a little bit silly question considering that Ali just retired. If you had a preferred position where you'd like to convince your coaches to put you, where would that be?
Alex, if you're listening, I want to be striker. Put me up front.
Yeah, I was trying to put Tegan's on the wing because I'm like, she's fast. She's got such a strong leg, a great cross, and she's got great vision. So I was like, pop her out there. So we'll see if that ever comes to fruition there. But for me, I've always been center of the park. Everywhere I've gone, the coaches want to put me at 10. And I think 10 is awesome. It's a very creative role, and it's really attacking minded. But I think the best position for me is 8. I like to just sit right behind them. It's just more of a connective piece. I can see more of the game and communicate better. And I think communication has been a huge strength for me throughout my career. And, you know, for the longest time, I love passing the ball. I love setting the ball up and having that vision. Back in my high school days, though, I was taking 1,000 shots a day. So I was training all the time, and 1,000 shots a day. We're talking hours and hours and hours. It was so fun. I would just go out there and we'd say, I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to put it here with my left and with my right. We're going to bend it here. And so I was scoring a lot of goals. And then I went into my college years, which it got a lot harder. You know, I wasn't a big fish in a small pond anymore. I was amongst some of the best players in the entire nation. And so I started to take less shots and focus more on my midfield direct passing game. And I think I kept that through my professional years, but I wish that I kind of got a little bit more selfish and more attacking minded. Look to take those shots. So Teagues, you know, never forget, look up, look at the goal, keep scoring those bangers.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully you'll see a couple of goals of the week next year.
What does the Sport of the World game mean to both you, especially being there at Peninsula Power?
The world game, it just is, as I said before, soccer is the world game. Doesn't matter where you go, and you see kids in the streets. All you need is really something to kick around, and that's why I think it's just so easy, accessible to play. And for me, soccer is so special because it's really been the platform, the foundation of all the skills that I've used throughout my life. There's so much that you get being on a team. You have to learn leadership. You have to learn how to listen. You have to learn how to set goals. You have to learn what happens when you meet those obstacles and you come up short, the pain, the suffering, but then to be able to rise again. You got to learn dedication, commitment, all of these skills that are actually, something can be transferred in the game of life. So world sport to me, that is it. And Peninsula Power, I feel like they do such a great job to really set up a strong foundation. They don't skip steps. They really have built the program from the ground up. So they're building up these youth teams. They want to do things right so that they have a long, successful program. And you can see on the men's side, they've built them all the way up to the very top of the table. And now it's the women's turn. And you can start to see those pieces get put into place. And a program like that, when every box is checked, it won't fail.
Yeah, the world game for me, obviously football is one of the fastest growing sports, especially female football. The numbers have risen and it's proven. We've had a massive turnout for our 23s trials, and we've got so many more junior teams now at Power. It's really good to see that, improvement in numbers. With Power, like Ali said, they have started from essentially nothing for the women's NPL. They got it at the end of last year, and they've got to build. So they're building that foundation. They haven't skipped a step, and they really are. I'm glad to be a part of what they're building.
Yeah, big things.
Real big things.
Following up from that then, what would be your advice to people that should get involved in the world game? And you might as well tell us, where's your home ground?
First, I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada in America. That big flashy city. It's got a lot going on. So my advice to young players out there, and it's just, there's only two things that you can control, and that is your effort and your attitude. And for me, I knew that, you go out there and you can put in extra work and train, focus on these different things, but in the match, I call it winning the beat. You want to win every single beat in your mind mentally, which means, am I positive right now? Am I looking for the good things or the bad? Like if you give up a ball, winning the beat would be in that very second, figuring out how you can help, thinking that you're going to get it back, believing, encouraging. That's winning the beat. Every second that goes by in another direction, that's losing the beat. And so focusing on every moment, staying in that positive mindset, and really just putting in your own personal best effort. Those two things are the formula for success. Would never get mad at a player for messing up a skill or missing a shot. But when players don't work hard, it's disheartening, and it's really hard on the team. And so I would just say, those young players, it's really easy. Two things: you just try your hardest, and you just look for the positives in every beat.
I've got to agree with Ali there for a piece of advice. I was going to say something very similar, and it was just work hard and stay positive, because the minute you see someone with a head down or you put your head down, it affects the game completely. You make one mistake, you drop your head, and then you're making a lot more mistakes because you're not picking yourself up. So I'd have to say work hard, pick yourself up, and stay positive. But I'm from Gladstone, Queensland, small town, about 6 hours north of Brisbane. So yeah, little suburbia.
Well, I believe it's in Reddit, but this is probably Tegan's question. She's more familiar with the Australian territory, though I have been here now 5 years. So place I like to call home. But
Yes.
Redcliffe.
So Peninsula Power's home ground is at AJ Kelly Park in Kippa-Ring, which is Redcliffe. And then we have our training grounds at Dalton Park that we go to every week. But the AJ Kelly fields are awesome facilities. The field is well maintained by the president, and he's done an awesome job with it.
So a couple of questions about your teammates. Firstly, who had the most embarrassing moments on the field this season, and what was it, knowing that your games are live streamed?
Ooh, honestly, I would have to say me because I've scored the most own goals. And it's pretty bad, but that's really embarrassing as a centre back.
It happens. That's why I stay out of the defensive line, you know. A lot of pressure back there. You know, I was going to say me and Vicky in the last game, we bumped heads. I got a black eye.
Oh,
She got a
yeah,
black
you
eye.
ended up with a real big eye.
Yeah. I should have known, you know, she wasn't going to back down. Sorry about that. Vicky, didn't mean to bump heads with you. I had a cute little shiner. It just looked like I was doing smoky eyes though. So it worked out. You know, it wasn't too bad.
Other than that, the other one I'd have to say would be Caitlin. You mightn't have heard it, Ali, but every game she had a wedgie. I wouldn't be surprised if you look back on the live streams and she's picking it out.
I didn't know that. No, it was new information, but I will rewind.
Look, she would turn over to me and Loz and just let us know she's got a wedgie every game.
Oh my goodness.
That I think that would have to be the most embarrassing thing that a player has said. Well, to me at least, anyway.
It's serious. I never heard it. I love the banter too. I love the banter. Sometimes I get a little shy. Everyone's really delicate with banter with me. I'm American, so I'm still trying to map out what this banter game is. If it gets a little too much,
right.
I just usually step away, start juggling, and then they teach
Have you
me.
caught on to the Aussie lingo yet?
Em was trying to teach me.
Yeah.
Get out of my high gown. There's more. There's more. I'll get there.
Tegan, I have to ask you this as a follow-up. So how many own goals have you scored this year?
I think I scored 3.
Oh, no.
But to be fair, one of them,
score?
I scored 5 goals. So
That's
pretty good. As a centre back, that's good. But also as a centre back scoring 3 own goals, meh. To be fair though, I think one of them, Sarah, our keeper, actually punched into the back of my head and then it went in.
And wasn't the other
that one doesn't count.
Volley? It was like a really awesome shot too. I feel like it was a good goal.
The other one, I kind of went to volley, like lace the ball out as it's in the air, and it's just skimmed off the top of me boot, and it's completely psyched Sarah out, and it's gone the opposite way she has.
Great goal.
They were pretty good own goals, I got to admit.
Who's the comedian, the best singer, the best dancer in the team?
Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah, well, she's a goalkeeper, so she knows a lot of the time, you know, she's not going to be running around. So we're trying to preserve energy, you know, she is keeping up the energy in the locker room pregame.
Oh,
loose.
Every weekend you see her, she's on, if she's on DJ or Em's on DJ, she's pumping out the moves.
Yes, definitely holding that down. And I think Em's got a voice too. You know, some people, they're always the quiet ones, and then they just like hit some tunes. You're like, whoa, all right.
Yeah.
Is there anyone on the team into their TikToks?
Oh, yes. Sarah, Em, they always send TikToks to each other, and you get to trainings and they're always reciting these TikToks. And like, I'll see them and I'll just like, oh, girls, what are you doing? But like, yeah, so Sarah, Em, Abby, and Caitlin, I think, also join in.
Okay.
Got to get on my TikTok game. I heard it's dangerous.
No.
For 10 minutes turns into 10 hours.
Right. Do either of you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
For me, I like to put on rap music when I'm going to the game, and I actually can feel into my body. And I know that if it's hard for me to sing, like energy wise, like if I'm like having trouble, just singing along, I'm like, okay, this is a note. Like you notice that it's hard to just, taking energy to just rap. And that means I do a mental shift in my brain, and I really try to bring up that energy level. If I'm just totally energetic and excited, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great game, effortless, easy. I don't know. That's my pregame ritual, just rapping it out.
For me, I don't really have one. When I used to play back in Gladstone here when I was a kid, I used to sneak a chocolate every now and then before a game. That would just make me run and run and run. But most recently, like throughout this season, I just made sure that I focused on my game and what I had to do. I made sure that I did my job when I got out there.
I know with some clubs there's a fine system. So did you have a fine system this year? And if so, who copped the most fines? That will normally go towards like a footy trip or in a season trip.
Ooh, we didn't really have one, actually, did we?
No, I think we're going to start to put it into practice. Like I said, there's so many transitions this year between players and coaches, and just how everything was unfolding with the virus and different times we couldn't train or have matches. All those spaces, I think that kind of kept us from the fine system. So not all my money in my wallet still.
Actually, the only thing I do remember is when we had to fill out our pre-training surveys of how we're feeling and how our body's coping. They were going to start introducing a team fine for if you didn't fill it out before training. And I think our trainer, Andrew, he forgot to put it up a couple of times. So he was also going to get fined for it.
Oh, okay.
I like that. Just show up and commit. That's all we got to do. We don't need to pay any extra money. We'll just do what we got to do. Everybody was actually just perfect the entire season. That's exactly what happened. We didn't need pay fines.
Both of you, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. It's awesome having both of you on the show. Obviously, we want to congratulate you on your amazing world game journey, Ali. And hopefully it doesn't stop there. Hopefully they can somehow lure you back into 2022 for another couple of games. And of course, and for you, Tegan, as well, obviously, best of luck going into the 2022 year for Peninsula Power.
Thank you.
And thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
No worries. And that's Ali and Tegan there, joining us from the Peninsula Power. Of course, women's Premier League team. Of course, if you want to get involved there at Peninsula Power, up there in the Redcliffe area, of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can get involved with the Peninsula Power. There's more on the Smash Sport Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.